Tonight on CTV, Mayor candidate Gerry Horak has been accused of sexual harassment, as well as a recap of the ASCSU debates.
And the death of a 3-year-old boy in Larimer County has now been ruled a homicide, and phase 2 of vaccine distribution in Colorado is on its way.
All that and more on CTV starting now. Good evening, Rams. I'm Ren Wadsworth.
And I'm Robbie Patla.
On Wednesday, March 24th, a 3-year-old boy in Larimer County passed away and is now being ruled as a homicide. The child was brought into the hospital by a family member because he was not breathing. The child died in the hospital, and his cause of death was from strangulation. Less than 2 hours before the child was brought into the hospital, he was allegedly assaulted by his mother's boyfriend, Jamie Rodriguez. Rodriguez is now facing charges of child abuse and first-degree murder. Bond has not been set, and Rodriguez remains in custody at Larimer County Jail. CTV will continue to keep you updated with new information as it arises.
2 former Fort Collins City Council members have accused mayoral candidate Gerry Horak of sexual harassment. Lisa Papa and Christian Stevens, who both served with Horak, say he made inappropriate and demeaning sexual remarks on several occasions, mainly at community events where he may have been intoxicated. According to the Coloradoan, other witnesses have come out, including current Mayor Wade Troxell and City Manager Darian Attenberry, who confirmed these allegations. Horak has denied most of the accusations. However, he told the Coloradoan that he has complimented women on their appearance occasionally, as well as men. In an email sent to supporters, Horak wrote, quote, "I never intended any flattering comment to be taken for more than face value or in a sexual and provocative way. I am deeply troubled that any of these comments hurt others or that any individual felt uncomfortable talking to me." End quote. Stevens said Horak first harassed her at the 2011 Laramie County Democratic Party's annual dinner, where Horak commented about her sleeveless dress and bare arms, saying that they, quote, "turned him on." Horak believes that the women's claims are politically motivated because Papa and Stevens are working with the candidates running against him. At the moment, there is no information on how this affects Horak's campaign. However, we will continue to keep you updated once more information surfaces.
A fire occurred in a residence home, killing one on Sunday, March 28th. The Poudre Fire Authority arrived at the scene at 800 block of St. Peterson Street just before 8 that night. According to Poudre Fire Authority, the fire began in the basement of the home, but the cause is still unknown and is currently under investigation. The identity of the victim and their cause of death is yet to be released to the public.
The campaign for ASCSU student body government has reached a climax following last week's debates. Here is an overview of the presidential debate, which took place on March 24th. Candidates John Williamson, Christian Dixon, and Liz Taddei discussed their hopes and plans for their presidencies at the 2021 ASCSU presidential debate. All candidates shared what their goals for ASCSU would be if they were to win.
I am here to make promises to you, promises of commitment and promises of kindness.
What I want to make sure every single student knows is ASCSU is for the students. It's not a bunch of people leading you or spending your money. It's a place for your voice to be heard. And that's what it should always be.
And if we can really provide an opportunity for others to communicate with each other, build bonds, build lifelong bonds, we can all have a greater opportunity, if you will, through meeting people, through the connections that we gain through the year.
Through transparency, through our commitments of radical inclusion, through stewardship, I think we can start to create that environment where the ideas and the solutions all across campus that often don't materialize, that they can start to materialize.
Another big topic discussed in this debate was the prevalence of COVID-19 and how each candidate would make a commitment to student safety next year.
I am going to rather advise you to do what you think is best. Now, if that means you want to get the vaccine, then please get the vaccine. If that means you would like to wear a mask, then please please wear a mask. It simply is up to you.
The COVID restrictions has much say from ASCSU. That's more from CDC, state, and local guidelines, and as well as the pandemic preparedness team. That we are already going along those guidelines, and we're going to keep going along with them.
I don't want to say that we will just stand by and say whatever administration says. I want to be proactive and give suggestions and, at the very least, have guidelines for students to come back safely and to meet in person with their organizations.
I know there are many communities on campus, specifically marginalized communities, that have had poor experiences with vaccines in the past. So how can we build trust and how can we build that engagement? And I think it starts with dialogue, curiosity, and a willingness to listen to the concerns, the questions, the comments of the student body.
Starting today, March 30th, voting for ASCSU has opened on RamWeb for all students to participate in. There you can vote for president, vice president, speaker of the Senate, and your senators. Voting will last until April 1st.
Governor Jared Polis announced that starting this upcoming Friday, April the 2nd, that phase 2 of vaccinations will begin. This means that coronavirus vaccines will be open to the general public. Governor Polis did warn that just because vaccines are becoming available to all of Colorado, you might not get it the very first weekend. Polis believes that any Coloradoan who wants to be vaccinated will be by mid to late May, and Colorado should be able to return to normalcy very soon. The nearest community vaccination site to Fort Collins is at the Ranch Events Complex in Loveland.
Don't go anywhere, Rams, because Zaya Hiley is up next with her weekly weather report.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. I'm Zaya Hiley, and let's get right into our weather forecast for today. So you can see right now the current conditions are 23 degrees, and it's a partly cloudy night. The wind is calming down for us at 5 to 10 miles per hour, and the moon is at a waning gibbous right now. So what this means is it's coming down from the new moon, or the full moon that we had on Sunday, and it's going to get more into a crescent shape and then get smaller and smaller throughout the week. And the moonrise is at 10:03 tonight if you want to check out what I'm talking about. And now we can look at our conditions on campus today. So it was a pretty mild day. We did have a little bit of wind picking up. That was blowing the clouds around, but the sun was able to peek through. So we had some snow also still left over. This is about 3 weeks old now from the snowstorm, so it's looking pretty gross. We also had lots of students on campus, and they were bundled up a little bit more than they were yesterday. And lots of chalk out on the plaza as the weather warms up, which was really pretty. And yeah, overall a pretty moderate day on campus, a lot colder than it was yesterday. And now we can check out our overnight lows across the state. So the rest of the state is dipping into the below freezing temperatures. And over on the eastern side, we get into the 20s with Sterling at 22, Burlington and Lamar at 24, Lyman and Colorado Springs at 19, and then Pueblo is at 22, and there is a chance of rain in Pueblo. And also I meant to say in Denver and Lyman, there is a chance of snow tonight as well. And then moving on to the mountain side, we get more into the 10s, especially along the mountain range over here. A little warmer in Grand Junction at 27, Craig at 13, and Alamosa at 14. And then we can move on to tomorrow's highs. So tomorrow's looking a lot warmer than it was today. We get into the 40s and the 50s, and a lot less wind as well. So over on the eastern side, we've got Sterling and Lamar at 55, Burlington at 53, Lyman at 50, and then it gets colder as we go over to the into the mountains more. So we got Colorado Springs at 48, Pueblo at 56, a little warmer, Denver at 51, and then right along the edge here as well, we're in the 40s, Telluride's low at 41, Grand Junction at 58, and Craig at 51. But of course, I know you're wondering about Fort Collins, and then we can look at our forecast for tomorrow. We've got a high of 52 and a low of 29. And it's going to be a clear, sunny day for you, with the sunrise being at 6:44. And the average temperature around this time in Fort Collins is about 50 degrees, so we're about on par with how it usually is. We're a little bit warmer than normal, but pretty normal for the kind of temperatures we usually have around this time of year. And now lastly, we can check out our 5-day forecast. And if you like warm weather, I have got some great news for you, because on Wednesday it's getting up, it was 52 like I said, and then on Thursday we get up to the 60s with lows in the 30s. And then throughout the weekend we get into the 70s. So Friday and Saturday we've got highs in the 70s, lows in the 40s. And then on Sunday, your Easter Sunday, we get a high of 79, almost 80 degrees, and a low of 46. So you'll have plenty of sun if you're out doing Easter egg hunts or things like that, with a little bit of clouds to keep it from getting too hot. And that's all I have for the weather for now, but please stay tuned because Robbie and Ren have more for you after the break.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Welcome back from the break, Rams.
Students at Colorado State found a way this semester to look outward to help those in our community who may need it the most during COVID-19. Amidst all the confusion and change COVID-19 has brought this year, students and staff at Colorado State University are banding together with members of the community.
And so the idea with Thrive was to offer some programs to older adults that were less about kind of just getting through COVID, but more like setting up some healthy living style with our support for during COVID and after COVID.
Thrive is beneficial to the mental health of the elderly and compromised, and also allows for students to learn new skills and oftentimes earn practicum for their major firsthand.
What if we did some virtual services with older adults that were like pro-social and active, and we paired it with CSU students who need practicum hours? And we just kind of came up at that time with a whole list of folks who were interested in pairing their students with older adults and put in a proposal to run the Thrive program.
Thrive was created in the midst of a global pandemic, but who knows how the organization and its members will shift and evolve in time and what it may do in years to come. While Thrive has all the members and participation it needs, if Thrive inspires you, Dr. Davalos encourages you to reach out to her.
Groups at CSU, including the Pride Resource Center, Student Disability Center, and the Asian Pacific American Cultural Center, will be talking about intersectionality of race and ethnicity within the transgender and disabled community. The event, called More Than Organs, Beyond Resilience, will take place on Wednesday, March 31st at 6 in the evening. The occasion is taking place in honor of Trans Visibility Day and will feature keynote speaker Kay Ulande Barrett. For more information on the matter, you can reach out to LGBT_student services at mayoral.colostate.edu.
The Colorado Healing Fund is a nonprofit established in 2018 to help support victims, their families, and anyone directly affected by events such as last week's tragedy in Boulder. The shooting that took place at the King Soopers left 10 people dead. As of Wednesday, the nonprofit has raised almost $400,000 for the Boulder shooting victims and their loved ones. The executive director of the nonprofit, Jordan Finnegan, said, quote, "It's not about whether another mass casualty event will happen in Colorado, it's when," end quote. For more information, visit coloradohealingfund.org.
A new public health ambassadors program began on campus to reinforce important COVID-19 related messages for CSU students. This initiative is part of CSU's Social Norming Task Force, a group of faculty, staff, and students working to correct misperceptions students may have regarding public health behaviors. This program, around 20 students strong now, is a way to promote this agenda. Public health ambassadors are stationed in higher traffic areas around campus, such as the Laurie Student Center, Morgan Library, and the Student Recreation Center. Their purpose is to educate and encourage their fellow peers to follow 5 key health behaviors: wearing face coverings, practicing physical distancing, washing and using hand sanitizer, keeping gatherings small, and staying home when sick. The program has resources and information available for all students while providing face masks and hand sanitizer for those who visit their tables.
Now that multiple companies have been given the go-ahead to administer their versions of the vaccine, distribution and immunity statistics have begun to look up. However, Ray Goodridge, director of Colorado State University's Infectious Disease Research Center, and many others are still trying to develop as many as 4 new vaccines for COVID-19. The goal is to create multiple versions in order to cater to multiple audiences. Research will continue with the hopes of finally retrieving further answers and understanding for the health of everyone.
Well, Rams, that is all we have for you tonight, but don't go anywhere because Allison Hubbard has a full rundown of March Madness. Stay tuned.
Queen is just my everything. Right now, I wouldn't know where my life would be without her.
They say chivalry's dead. It's not. Terrence is a gentleman. He opens doors. His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. It takes me to a place of no hope. It takes me to a place of loneliness. It saddens me. When you discriminate against somebody in housing, where do these people go? Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
How's it going, Ram fans? Welcome back from the break into yet another night of Hubbard's Huddle. As always, I'm your host, Ellison Hubbard, here to get you caught up on everything going on in the sports world. On tonight's show, we will take a look at CSU outdoor track and field kicking off their season and then talk through some of the frustrations with our March Madness brackets. So let's break the huddle and get into some season opening news with track and field. Last Saturday, CSU's band of runners made the trip down to Pueblo to kick off their outdoor slate. And when the CSU Pueblo invite was all said and done, the Rams track and field teams had racked up 16 top 20 all-time school marks during the two-day event. After not having a season last year due to the pandemic, up to 35 CSU athletes put on a jersey to compete last Friday and Saturday for the first time in nearly 2 years. Kicking things off, the women's field events, the ladies Rams torched the competition in both shot put and discus, going 1, 2, and 3 in both. As only a freshman, Gabby McDonald threw the 7th best shot put in CSU history to finish in second place behind Terrence Siege. McDonald also led the Rams in discus, recording the 18th best throw in the event all time. Now moving on to the vault, Tamron Coryell and Celine Sturmer tied for third in the CSU history books at 12 feet and 11 inches. And in the 100-meter, Jania Jasper continues to make major waves as a mere freshman, finishing with a time of 11 minutes and 78 seconds, which places her at 9th all-time at Colorado State. Jasper finished second in the race behind CSU record holder and current professional Mary Beth Sant. And now, sprinting into the men's side, sprints and hurdles were the talk of the weekend, with Liam Mather tied for 6th best in the 110-meter hurdles, while Tom Williams had personal best for 200 and 400, with a 10th place finish overall. And Devon Washington and Kelly Stevens also ended things out strong, becoming yet another set of runners to sprint into the all-time list for CSU. After this successful weekend, will Colorado State be able to accomplish more breaking numbers coming this Saturday? We'll find out at the Doug Max Invitational coming up this weekend right here in Fort Collins. And now dribbling into some March Madness coverage. At this time last year, basketball fans everywhere were sitting at home without any bracket busters in sight. This year, though, March Madness made its return. But like always, that doesn't come without some major upsets that leaves your bracket destroyed. It's essentially impossible to have a completely perfect bracket entering elite play, especially after 15 seed Oral Roberts made it to the 16th, or the Sweet 16, a single 3 away from becoming the first 15 seed to make it to the final 8. But that's the beauty of March Madness. You have to expect the unexpected, leaving you with tears over your bracket just like these players were. If we take a look at the map of the tourney thus far, before the Elite 8, Cinderellas like Oral Roberts, Loyola Chicago, and Abilene Christian made it to at least the round of 32. And for Oral Roberts and Loyola Chicago, they reached territory no one expected them to do, making it to the Sweet 16 before losing a nail-biters that sent them home. But Loyola has already been in their position before with their Final Four run back in 2018. Let's talk a little bit more about the squad who hasn't been there before, the Golden Eagles, who came out of nowhere to shock the nation with wins over the 2-seeded Ohio State and the 7-seeded Florida. Unfortunately for those who love the underdog, the story had to come to an end. losing by 2 points in a heartbreaker against the Arkansas Razorbacks, where they had a chance to take home the dub with the last-second shot. As of today, we are down to the Elite Eight, and as many might have predicted, we still have 3 number 1 seeds left in Gonzaga, Michigan, and Baylor. But don't forget about the little guys. 11 seed UCLA and 12 seeded Oregon State out of the Pac-12 earned a spot in the quarterfinals. As well now, with half the Elite Eight games already played and 2 more going on right now as I speak, who will make it to the Final Four? All I know is that Juwan Howard and the Wolverines have a great shot at seeing the confetti rain down on them, but only time will tell. But now, Rams, enough with the basketball coverage. It's finally time for my top highlight play of the week. In case you did not know, football is being currently played at the FCS level. And now I finally found a play on the gridiron that you have to see. Weber State battled it out with Northern Arizona this past weekend before taking home the dub with this mind-blowing catch. Let's take a look. Weber State's quarterback rolls out, throws up a Hail Mary, a prayer, and it's caught. It's caught. You can't really see it here. Let's look at another angle. It's caught. All in that mix, that jumbo mumbo stuff, it is caught for a win. Weber State wins the game, and as an experienced football player, I have been through many losses, and I have lost 1 game by a Hail Mary. It's no fun, but we're not here about my sorrows. We're here about that amazing game-winning catch. Congratulations, Weber State. But that's all I have for you tonight, Rams. Don't go anywhere, because up next is Tygo Branson to talk about a lion living at CSU's Vet Center. Stay tuned.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September. I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs. And that's still not enough to put food on the table. I am a 16-year-old boy who just got my first job to help feed my little sisters. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew they were hungry.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Excuse me. Good evening, Fort Collins. Hope you're having a killer week.
I am what hunger looks like in America.
I don't remember muting it.
I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school.
Okay.
Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September. I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs. And that's still not enough to put food on the table. I am a 16-year-old boy who just got my first job to help feed my little sisters. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew they were hungry.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Apologies for the technical difficulties, but as I was saying, good evening, Fort Collins. It's been a while since I've seen you. Hope you're having a killer week and welcome to entertainment. I'm Tygo Branson. Cancer has affected everyone and every creature on the planet, maybe not directly, but in some form. Well, CSU's Flint Animal Hospital is on a mission to change that. The hospital is testing a vaccine on dogs. Their goal is to create a vaccine for dogs with cancer that may spill over into creating a vaccine for humans. Out of 600 dogs, some will get the vaccine and some will get a placebo. After that, it's just a matter of waiting for the results. Animals are a hot topic lately as the CSU Vet Hospital is helping a lion, that's right, a lion, recover. Nala is a lioness that was rescued from her previous home where she was malnourished and never received the proper care she needed. She now lives in the Wild Animal Sanctuary in Keensburg, Colorado, and has regular checkups at CSU's Vet Hospital. It's good to see this majestic creature getting the care she deserves. Hopefully she will get a long and happy life. Speaking of majestic, Fort Collins recently had quite the sight to behold.
Some people take their trucks to work. Some people take their sports cars. Some take helicopters. On the morning of Friday, March 26th, 2 Chinook helicopters landed in Fort Collins.
We've got CSU Army ROTC headed out for the Spring FTX, and we have 2 CH-47 Chinook Army National Guard helicopters coming in to pick us up. And they're going to take us on a quick 40-minute ride down to U.S. Air Force Academy, where we're going to do some infantry-style field training.
These behemoths of machinery can fly up to 188 miles per hour, carry 25 tons, and are used for transport of troops, medicine, and vehicles.
For a lot of these cadets, this is their first time on a rotary aircraft.
Cadet Spencer mentioned that it sometimes takes one ride in one of these machines for a CSU Army ROTC cadet to really decide if they want to become a pilot or not. But one thing's for sure, whether you're flying in them or just watching from the ground, these machines truly are a spectacle to behold.
It's going to be loud, it's going to be windy, but everybody here is excited. It's a pretty cool exposure for us, and it's pretty cool to see helicopters come down into Fort Collins.
That was one of the coolest experiences of my life, and I only wish I could have flown as well. But unfortunately, I will not be the only one not flying. The Rocky Mountain Raptor project here in Fort Collins lost one of their beloved bald eagles on March 25th. The RMRP had the eagle since 1996. The bald eagle was kept for all these years because of a gunshot wound that wouldn't let it survive in the wild. The eagle was also not given a name like the other birds there to respect its wildness. Such a beautiful creature, and at least it got to live out its life surrounded by people who genuinely cared for it. On a brighter note though, for those of you who can't wait to get your boats out and get in the water, Carter Lake and Horsetooth Reservoir are set to open boat ramps this Thursday, April 1st. Of course, you still need to take some caution with going boating this early in the year. There could still be some ice, and we don't need an event for James Cameron to make Titanic 2. That movie was long enough. And that's all I have for tonight. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to come back tomorrow for CTV Cooks. Have a good night and a great week.